Welcome Diana Todea, so technical advocate at Aircall, and let's hear about her journey with open source contributing.
Thank you. Hi, thank you so much for coming here. And by the way, I'm already happy that half of the room showed up. I thought literally it would be like 2 people because, it will be like a Radus talk. I wanted to be there, so that's, applause for you being here. Thank you so much. I do apologize for my voice. Since I landed in Romania, my voice decided to die. So I took like a bunch of, bunch of medicine and stuff, but it's still not fixed. So yeah, that's about me. A huge thank you to the CND, staff and organizers. They are doing such a great job. And it's not enough that we thank them and we have the opportunity to thank them. So a big applause to the organizers and the staff for doing this. Amazing job, very humbling. And yes, so I'm Diana Todea. A bit about myself, I was born here in Bucharest. I live in Valencia, Spain, however, so I'm a fan of paella, as you imagine. So I'm an SRE. I've worked in engineering for the last 15 years almost. My area of expertise is observability. And I joined a company called Aircall like a month ago as a technical advocate. Basically because I want to educate peers like me to understand a bit better technologies, how we can improve the process around advocacy, DevRel advocacy, etc. But the talk I'm presenting today doesn't have anything to do with my employer, so it's just about me and my personal journey with OpenTelemetry. I'm an active OpenTelemetry contributor. I do contribute to this couple of, let's say, small groups. Localization is about translating documents into specific languages. Since I'm based in Spain, I'm translating them into Spanish. For you, an opportunity, there is no Romanian yet translation for OpenTelemetry, so yay! If you are excited like I am, you can join me. I'm passionate about open source projects. I'm into machine learning, AI stuff, because why not? And here in my GitHub repo at conferences and talks, you can already download my talk and all my previous talks. So yes, I spoke about a bunch of other topics, so feel free to grab my PDFs. Right. So how did it all start, actually? I'm gonna tell a story. So in the beginning, it started with something I was hearing through the grapevine. Okay, OpenTelemetry. Different people posting on LinkedIn. OpenTelemetry is great. Let's do this. Oh my God, it's telemetry. Okay, so I got really curious. A year ago, I was everybody was talking about OpenTelemetry in production, doing this, how it's great for companies. I was like, okay, man, but I still didn't try it myself. I want to use it. I want to test it. So I'm an SRE. I want to do it. I don't believe in fairy tales. Right. So before actually doing some work and before we all jump into my story, I'm going to tell you what OpenTelemetry is and what isn't. So just for people taking a photo of this graph is the most technical piece of information you're going to find in this talk. My other talks have low sheet of stuff, sorry. You can redact that later. But anyway, so here is OpenTelemetry is observability framework, right? And a toolkit. It's gonna push, it's gonna generate, it's gonna export, it's gonna collect telemetry data. That means what? Logs, traces, metrics. And the most important objective of OpenTelemetry is to create an easy instrumentation of apps and systems, right? So this is a happy user, we all want to achieve this. It's open source, so that's why it's a CNCF incubating project. So it's vendor and tools agnostic. That's the great stuff about it. However, it's not an observability backend, right? And it's not an observability frontend. People usually get frustrated and confused about these 2 points. You do need your own storage and you do need your visualization tools. So we're gonna see about that a bit later. Right, so how did it start for myself? My personal journey with OpenTelemetry is as follows. So I was working as an SRE, and I was hearing OpenTelemetry, this and that. Okay, how can I get involved? Well, luckily for me, you know, the universe listened, and somebody posted on LinkedIn as like, hey, we are looking for observability SMEs, subject matter experts. Do you want to join this cool project? Oh, yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, let me sign in. Okay, so I signed up. And that project was to produce the OpenTelemetry Certified Associate exam certification, the first one. Basically a bunch of us listed, like in the army is always voluntary, you don't know what's gonna happen. And that took, like, just in the army, 9 months-ish, you know, until production. So I didn't know how long it will take, but it lasted like almost a year. And luckily for me, was the great introduction actually into the documentation, into the whole theory around OpenTelemetry. So this is the backend. There above, Certiverse is a backend for offered by Linux Foundation, by the way. That you go there and you create certification, right? Exams. So how did it happen? We started to create questions. Exactly that will show up later in the actual exam certification. And we we brainstormed, we figured out, okay, how we want to put this, how we want to classify it. We came with like the basic principles and everything, and we started to contribute. Every few months, we went through the pool and we started to like verify a bit more, start to like just like in CI/CD, make it a bit better. So after 9 months, anyway, at the beginning of this year, January 2025, OpenTelemetry Certified Associate exam is available on the market. It's not free, sorry, but anyway, people can then they can train themselves, right? They can take this exam and learn about OpenTelemetry. They can have this certification, which is great. It was for me the perfect beginning to understand like the concepts, what it does. Anyway, so like the whole nitty-gritty. It also introduced me to the community, right? So I'm kind of a shy person. I know I don't look like that, but I'm an introvert. That's what they all say. And anyway, so it was the perfect introduction for me into the community, right? To speak with the people, to get to know them, like big names, CNCF ambassadors, all very humble or very nice, contributing to all this hard work. So that was really good for this as an initiation moment, right? The second part, so the middle part, was like the SRE, voice in my brain, like, going, okay, Dana, but, this is not enough. I mean, you're an SRE, you're a serious person, right? So, I mean, you cannot just show up and say, I did theory, I know docs. I mean, people won't take you seriously. Is it in production? Okay, so, yes, I got the chance at my company where I was at the moment. Actually, they didn't have a unified observability platform, right? So we all boast, like, if you are in observability or you come from that background, it's like, whoa, what? You don't have Grafana cloud unified observability tool in production? Shame. So the idea was like, it's very bearing, like for people, for companies not to have a unified platform, observability platform. So yeah, it's very shameful sometimes. And I pointed to them. I mean, that's why they hired me. Yeah, you need observability, unified tool. Cool. Have you heard about OpenTelemetry? I mean, they don't pay me, but, just if you hear about it. So how about a proof of concept? So I started like this. I just created a proof of concept. This is me publishing the afterwards of the story, so published on Medium with all the nice technical graph and everything. So how this start is like I created the proof of concept for OpenTelemetry, and I said, look, we are engineers, right? Me, I'm an SRE. We have an SRE team. We have a software engineering team. We produce a lot of applications. Yeah, we have a lot of demand. We were using a commercial APM provider, which was kind of expensive. It was working fine, that's not a problem, but we wanted to reduce the cost of paying that, and also wanted to opt for an open source possibility alternative. We boasted that we also had a lot of open source tools already, so it was like another great addition to the stack. So I said, yeah, let's go with OpenTelemetry. I obviously couldn't enforce that to software engineers that are very, very busy people. And and I was like, okay, yeah, so I'm an SRE. I'm gonna provide you this proof of concept. I'm gonna test it locally. I'm gonna test it in staging, whatever. I'm gonna provide you the findings, which I did. And luckily, it got approved by management. A couple of guys, colleagues, they tested this in, I don't remember exactly, Node.js and I think PHP. Yeah, I know, not the great SDKs, but anyway, so we found out a couple of bottlenecks or pain points, which, yeah, I think pretty much we can all kind of identify ourselves with it. Instrumentation comes with a lot of effort, manual effort, at least at the beginning for OpenTelemetry. What does it mean? So if you come from commercial vendors, obviously implementing or trying to instrument with OpenTelemetry, it's not plug and play. You're gonna have to take your code, you're gonna have to instrument it, you have to customize it, you have to write functions around it, and some of that part won't be in the official or not official documentation. So, okay, we also found out in the process that it's not as smooth as onboarding. Sometimes the documentation is kind of confusing. It doesn't like fill all the gaps. It doesn't tell you, okay, how do I go from this point to that point? We were looking like through a lot of websites or other people that went through the same journeys, and we didn't find, okay, the same kind of intelligence. Like, okay, I mean, I see the, how can I say, the artifact here. I understand it. I see the default values, but how do you jump from this to this? Or how do you jump from this theory to production, right? It doesn't work for us. So it's true. We took it like slowly. We understood how it works. And in the end, we tested it up to staging. I mean, the staging was fine. But we said, okay, wait a minute. We are taking quite of a risk to do this in production. I mean, it's all great. It's a great open source framework. We understand its flexibility, its potential, but it's a liability in production, at least for our organization. And I kind of like agreed with them, because I never asked myself as an SRE this question, because I only viewed it from my point of view as an SRE, like a personal journey with this tool. It's like, okay, but companies that don't have, let's say, a lot of engineers, a lot of engineering power, a lot of time to dedicate to specific projects to implement this in production, they are right. So we don't come from like huge companies. I'm not gonna name names, but where you have like hundreds of engineers just motivated to put OpenTelemetry in production because their boss says it's okay. You have to take them from different projects. You have to grab them from different projects or from incidents just to be able to go ahead and instrument this in production, and also be able to create those visualizations around it. So I'm talking about the front end that I was talking here earlier. So to have like a nice visualization, dashboards, what everything is explained, pretty much like in the same manner in a commercial vendor, which is not going to be able to replicate once you're in an open source visualization front end. It's true, it's not the same, how can I say, user experience, is not the same product. So we are also kind of like encountered ourselves with this reality, right? So shiny but very expensive stuff, not shiny but open source, and you have to do like most of it yourself. And OTel is not stable, is not a graduated project. So those were like let's say my company at that time was like, okay, so this is the moment where we say no, not yet for production, but we do know that it's gonna graduate as a project, and we're gonna wait until that time. So we're gonna get a lot more support from the community, and then we're gonna revisit, and then we're gonna do it. Perfect. So what we did here that I really liked, we weren't like selfish, and we did publish, or at least we kind of went to the community and say, okay, this is so this is on this side. One of my colleagues who tested this as a software engineer, he did say like, okay, but this is not really a truly auto instrumentation. And he described like, the pain points and the fact that, coming from commercial vendors and you signed up for OpenTelemetry, you're gonna have a lot of bottlenecks, a lot of confusion. And they did reply, yeah, well, these are already in motion. You need to take your time and you need to wait. It's called profiling. Some of the stuff was donated. You need to wait for it. There is a lot of community, how can I say, effort to make this happen, to stabilize it. And up to now, this evolved and was put into, so I would say this open GitHub issue was put into this one. So it's like, okay, the donation proposal Bela, which maybe sounds familiar to you in Grafana, maybe it's something that they want to achieve. So the donation, this GitHub issue is still open, so it's gonna happen, right? The donation is there, the efforts are there. So the auto instrumentation idea concept, is there, it's in motion basically. So like all these SDKs, all these this part for instrumentation, they will have to be auto instrumented. So it's kind of interesting. The idea is that always provide your developer feedback, right? So me talking to myself, yeah, man, I mean, it's not in production. What's going to happen? I cannot boast to anybody, you know. It's like people, I mean, SREs won't take me seriously. I'm an SRE, I want to be serious, right? So jump into like OpenTelemetry main repo, GitHub repo, and look through that and see what you can do. So as a first-time contributor, it's hard to understand some of the specifics, especially around the software part, right? Now, you're not a software engineer, you might have some headaches anyway, but at least like all the maintainers, they will recommend you to start with the low hanging fruit, right? With the whatever is like the first issue, right? The good for first issue. So you're gonna go with that. For me, it was, like I said, helping with the localization project, helping with the docs translation into Spanish. And it was interesting because I've also found out some of the contributors that were really nice and they were helping me throughout this process, and also kind of guiding me through the insights, the bureaucracy of contributing to OpenTelemetry. So what I did take from this small part of contribution is like, don't worry, if you want to start with an open source project, if you want to contribute, just start small, right? Don't think necessarily, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna create this GitHub issue, it's gonna fix auto instrumentation and do stuff. No, just start really small and then, you know, go up the ladder. And just talk to the maintainers, talk to the contributors, with the active contributors. They will give you a lot of feedback. And try, if possible, to choose something that you already have experience with or you are working on at that time. A lot of interesting stuff happens around the idea of contributing. It's interesting, but also very humbling. Also, like the experience of the organizers who are doing this work of contributing is like a lot of the engineers tend to forget that we need to be kind and supportive, right? Sometimes we don't even know how to communicate with one another. We don't know how to provide feedback. We don't know how to say, okay, man, don't say it to somebody that is stupid, right? Just say, okay, you need to try this, that, give a couple of alternatives. You need to provide clear feedback, avoid negativity. So it's something that is humbling, also from the receiver end and from the other side. What I did find out, and for me, I mean, I take this because I spoke with other people as well, is like sometimes OpenTelemetry project and itself, like even the documentation, the official documentation, tends to be intimidating, right? Even with a touch of pedantic in it, very scientific, like the explanations. If you go to the main website, you have like a lot of explanations around a lot of concepts, which are interesting to understand because obviously it's not something simple, you know, but it tends to be too much, sometimes too complicated than it needs to be. So what the OpenTelemetry actually project is doing at the moment is trying to like bring this down to a lot simpler, like a different end user experience, like a different developer experience. They try to actually provide demos, for different SDKs, how you can interact with first time with OpenTelemetry. They actually are working right at the moment, like from this week, on creating like sample applications in different SDKs, you know, Go, whatever, different languages. So it's a lot easier for a software engineer or a developer to come and say, okay, I want to instrument my application with OpenTelemetry. Oh yeah, just go there, take a look at this demo, take a look at this sample application. It's a lot easier, right, than trying to fix or understand, go through the dictionary of OpenTelemetry applications. So the idea is that it's a given, right? I mean, I didn't say, other people told it that they are smarter than me. So soon the whole world will be OpenTelemetry. Yay! So yeah, I mean, it will graduate, it will happen. You've seen a lot of effort from all the commercial vendors trying to put OpenTelemetry, you know, as a mask. And now you're gonna have more community work, at least from my side. So if you get bored with one contribution, like if you have a bit of, you know, edgy, you know, personality, you're gonna jump into another thing when you're not done with something else, and gonna start doing some other projects. So my projects are like focused on community work at the moment. So speaking at these events, other events on the same, obviously it's the same talk. So yeah. And anyway, and next is gonna be like other contributions. Just share your feedback with a lot of articles, right? So you can, I don't know, try to create. For instance, I was trying to write articles about the POC, right? Then about the other experiences, and I didn't stop. I have other articles about observability, everything. So the idea is that as long as you share with the community, other people will understand what happened, and they won't go through the same pain points. And it's interesting how many things that you think they are little or small, they can help with you know, the experience, overall experience with for other people. So yeah, don't minimize your contribution. Just a word of advice. I didn't say it. Other CNCF ambassadors said it. Specific parts of OpenTelemetry need a lot of input, right? They need a lot of feedback and contributions. Some of these are just examples. You can join the Slack channel, CNCF Slack channel. Everything starts with OTEL, our OTEL channels. So you could give it a go through it. I'm pretty sure with your expertise here, you can do a lot of good. It's a very interesting project, even if you are working in observability or not. The idea is that right now it's adopted by a lot of platforms, a lot of vendors. So actually it's pretty cool. It's gonna pick up. And yeah, I mean, there is no end to this. I'm not gonna say there is no end. The idea for me is just the same. Besides the community work right now, I'm trying to figure out where else I can actually contribute with more serious work into the OpenTelemetry. And it's kind of hard to know how to take it, right? You do need some kind of software developer, software engineering experience. So you need to know how to program and everything. But the cool thing is you're gonna help a lot if you can. I did put here a bunch of resources. And you can start with either Slack, how to contribute to OpenTelemetry. Even if you want to take the certification, it's okay. The last one was announced at KubeCon, is produced by Elastic. It's really cool. It's like a playground. I wish I had that when I did my POC and I let my software engineers down. But anyway, it's pretty cool. So the idea is that it's a lot of improvement. Even in the last year, the community brought a lot of things. So don't minimize your contributions. Everything stacked will get that project graduated. It will get that project better. For example, Prometheus. Prometheus wasn't great at the beginning, and now is like used by a lot of the majority of people. The same was probably is going to be with OpenTelemetry, other projects that were mentioned here at this event. So yeah, start somewhere and keep going. Mulțumesc. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Diana. So thank you for sharing us our journey, your journey on OpenTelemetry. Hopefully some of us will leave the room and try to at least look around our own journeys with OpenTelemetry and open source contributions. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have questions?
Yeah, since we have time, maybe there's some questions.
No, so anyway, I left that company because, yeah, I decided to become a technical advocate. Yeah, like I said, I like to move fast. But yeah, no, hopefully somebody else can make the world silky smooth with OpenTelemetry and, you know, convince them to use it in production. But yeah, I mean, the idea is that, you know, sometimes, especially in companies, you need to push a lot, and it's around politics. You don't need to get there because you did your job. So in the end, it was kind of a situation where I kind of understand, okay, it's not a one-man's job. It takes more people, right? So you cannot do magic overnight. But the how can I say, the idea is there. So I hope somebody will wake up and put it in production. Yep.
What do you think the biggest challenge was getting into the OpenTelemetry project?
Like personally, or well, to be honest, I still think it's quite pedantic as a project, or at least the documentation and how it's described. Not because that I mean, I understand that the concepts and it's very good. How can I say, the abstraction level is interesting, but the way is transpired to people, the way is being shared with people is a bit too much. So I think it needs to be engineered a bit in a way that's more how can I say, can be consummated a bit faster, like better, you know. I was talking about the demos, and I know the community is doing a lot of work around the demos and sample applications. I would go even with the documentation, so even with this part, like do it a lot simpler, and I don't know, give examples, give like, I don't know, like you know, artifacts, like how do you do like Helm charts or something, how to integrate, give examples like this. Also, there are a lot of very good side projects or other projects like generative AI that is not that public, you know. So it needs a lot of publicity, it needs a lot of, you know, information, and many people still don't know about it. Still many people don't know about it or how they can contribute to it. Even like if you have like a tiny bit of experience in, like I said, software engineering, you can contribute. There are tons of like OTel, Python, whatever groups there that they need, you know, people, just like they need the manpower around it. But yeah, like I said, like for me, it was like a lot of gaps in between, and I didn't struggle myself. We struggled together. I struggled with my team and people more senior than me to find those, to gap the bridges, like even in the documentation. And I think if for us it was frustrating, I imagine that for other teams and other companies was the same. And it's too bad because what I think here is that OTel shouldn't focus on big companies to be adopted, like eBay, etc., whatever. They should also focus on the small and medium-sized companies. And yeah, I know it's a lot of effort from the community who are doing this, you know, in their free time. So yeah, let's see.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you very much. One more round of applause, please, for Diana.
Thank you.